walkthrough of my notes. So first of all, we start off with my science notes. So my science notes were something. The front cover of all the pages, I made this little aesthetic random thing, which is kind of cringe looking back at it, but you know what, I'm not going to judge it. My year 10 notes were a stepping stone from my scribbles that were my year 9 notes to what my artful, literal masterpiece that my 11 and 12 notes were. These were my science notes, these ones that you're looking at right now, and these aren't actually that bad. Actually, most of these aren't that bad. The first few pages of each subject are kind of bad, only because they were at the beginning of the year, and as I said, a stepping stone from little chicken scratch to this, you know, I was still kind of getting used to it. So, but science actually had a pretty good transition phase. There wasn't really one that was like kind of gross, but this was year 10 science, and year 10 science was like different from year 9, and so the content was just like a little strange. I don't really know, but this was that binder. I actually quite like these notes still. This thick guy is my maths folder, so I did extension maths or math methods in Australia. Basically, it's advanced math and gives you a big, massive headache. As you can see, this page is disgusting, as I was still trying to learn what was going on, but as you can see later on, I actually get the hang of it. However, it is nowhere near as close as whatever the hell I was on in year 11 and 12, but nonetheless, my year 10 math notes again were pink. Technically English is supposed to be purple, but my purple highlighter like killed itself like on the first day, so it is purple. I mean, it is pink now. So, but math is red, and red highlighters kind of look bad, so it's pink because pink is technically red. So whatever. As you can see, these notes are again a stepping stone to what I end up doing in year 11 and 12, so you can kind of see the similarities. And this was very good practice for what ended up being my epic system of note-taking in class live. Yes, I do all these notes live. It's more impressive when you see my year 11 and 12 notes because they're on another world, and somehow I did them all in class live without any like pre-thinking. Now here's chemistry. Chemistry, I did advanced, so this is year 11 chemistry that I did in year 10. As you can see, I got this red ugly stuff, which are the practice questions that we do, which I ended up doing in a different book when I realized it looked ugly and inconvenient. Chemistry became yellow because I had a yellow marker on me at the time, and it just became yellow, and I'm not mad. As you can see, these first few pages had a lot of information because I did not know how to note take. This was like the first big content heavy subject because again, it was year 11, so it's more serious in year 10, and I wasn't used to big content stuff. So there is a lot of words. You'll see later on I'll get used to having lots of words to write down and managing to summarize it into a few dot points. So you can see I do transition to that about in this stage here. However, it is still quite a lot, but then again, it is chemistry, and chemistry has a lot of information. So, whoops, it is not that bad considering all the facts, although it is using this really bad paper. And however, I did use good pens at this point because I realized how bad ballpoint pens were, to me at least. But the paper, again, was kind of lacking, and I realized that. And I did improve on that as we move on in my years. Now, as you can see, there's a lot of worked examples and still a lot of words and notes. This kind of stays solid throughout chemistry, as you will see next year, but looking back, I could probably have summarized it a bit. I do actually turn these notes into flashcards. I did this actually with quite a lot of my subjects, but mostly it was chemistry and biology, as you can see. But with chemistry, it was the first time I did it. I did it on paper, unlike biology, which I did it online. But as you can see, I kind of did use scrap paper, and I basically stuck to that format for the rest of the year, and I did one for every unit. And as you can see, it's just my notes transferred into flashcards because they ended up being so summarized that I could actually just transfer it entirely into flashcards. Therefore, it's actually memorizing my entire notes. So, which is really cool, I think, but big brain. This is my year 11 binder. As you can see, it is very much more fancy and is the Muji binder, as everyone probably knows. This is my year 11 one. My maths actually started out in the binder, then I transferred it to a notebook because it turned out you needed hardbound, like cover bound, all the pages together basically for maths. I'll explain about that later more, but this is now English. So as you can see, I found my purple highlighter, so it is now purple/grey. I also didn't really care too much about my English notes because I don't really take English notes and because they aren't structured, so my brain couldn't make them. Ignore this page. Anyways, as you can see, it's messy, but it's actually kind of relaxing. I actually quite like taking the messy, loose, cursive kind of notes. You can see this is essay planning here. Just ignore my essay planning. But English was all right. There we go, chemistry. As you can see, I've got a brilliant typo in the title that we can all ignore. Title, what did I say like that? Anyways, these are my chemistry notes, my year 12 chemistry notes, so these are advanced. These notes are actually really cool. I actually really love them. As you can see, they're a lot more compressed, even though chemistry, again, is a big subject with content. But you can see the math chapters that have a lot of math are longer, but even the ones that are theory, they're quite short. I can fit quite a few on a page. And as you can see, a lot more nice and much more cooler than my year 10 notes, if I do say so myself. But yeah, this, as you can see, is, you know, a step ahead of what that stepping stone of year 10 notes were. Now moving on to physics, as you can see, we've got another lovely typo. Don't ask me why, I just move on, and it became a joke throughout the whole year. Physics is blue, and as you can see, again, very compressed. The first few chapters, so like this page here, is a bit more information only because we had to do it as holiday homework, so we were doing it through the textbook, so naturally it was a bit longer and a bit wordy, but it's fine. We never use that chapter because it's a little just key science skills, which every subject did, so I had to do it 3 times because I did 3 science subjects. Anyways, so this is my physics notes. As you can see, I did all these diagrams. As I said, I do all of this live in class. I don't pre-prepare any of this, like the structuring or anything. I just sit down and look at the slides and listen to the teacher and write the notes live. I have a really cool system. Now, as you can see, this is biology. Now, as you see the pages with the gaps, they actually told us at the beginning to write out the notes before class because you have to watch these videos. And I was like, you know what, that's a great idea. In retrospect, it was fine. I mean, if you want to do it, you can do it. But it actually did help with me because you kind of hit the ground running with biology because it is a lot of content, even summarized. But then I just kind of gave up after a while. It did help, though, with just getting used to it. But afterwards, yeah. As you can see, the space I used to actually add stuff that the teacher added when we went over the content in class. But after a while, as I said, I just gave up. As you can see, when the space on the side ends up disappearing, I end up just doing all the notes in class with my super epic system that makes it really easy to write these type of notes in class. If you ever want me to share them, I can share them because I'm very proud of the system and it really helped me. So yeah, this is the page where I essentially gave up because I could not be bothered to spend like an hour before class every day to do this sort of thing with 3 other science subjects under my pocket. But oh well, so these notes are not that bad for year 11 and for the first time making them kind of fancy. As you can see, this is my bound reference for math. So the reason this has to be not in a binder format is because we're allowed to have these to reference in our tests and exams and that sort of thing. So this contains year 11 and 12 content. Again, this is advanced math, as you can see, compared to my year 10 notes. Whew. But yes, you can see the first few pages are a bit wonky, but otherwise I get a pretty good system going. Again, I do this all in class. I emphasize, I did this all in class, live, with no pre-planning and nothing. I just did it in class as the teacher spoke, and maths, we didn't have slides, so it was just literally whatever the teacher put on the whiteboard. So, you know, I'm very proud of these, and they look very nice, and even though the math makes your brain hurt, at least they don't make your eyes hurt. So I actually, again, did use these for all of my tests and my year 11 exams. I'll explain what happened with my year 12 exams, but these were, again, very useful. I didn't have to refer to literally anything else. This was all I used. I didn't use a textbook. I just used a textbook for my practice questions, but that's it. So yes, very nice book. I actually really like it, and I didn't even use that many pages compared to the actual content that you have to use for maths. There's a lot of stuff, but I managed to compress it. This is my year 12 binder. You can see I used just simple stickers for the covers instead of making them more fancy this year. That's all my English essay references and stuff. You can see I got bored and made these titles really fancy because I don't really take that many notes for English. We did Real Window for year 12 and there's a bunch of stuff in there. Again, look at these notes, non-existent. That's because, again, English, I find it pretty easy, so I kind of have it all under control. This is my analysis for argument English notes that actually saved my life. I took the notes once and never again. It's basically just a to-do list to what to write in your essay. Here's a chemistry page, again the yellow guard at the top, but I didn't do it with chemistry this year because I finished it last year, so don't ask why I added one. Now this is physics, again, as you can see, very compressed, a lot of formulas, a lot of theory, and we're just going to ignore it because physics was not that bad, but it was some of the worst. But I only did 4 subjects, so oh well. It was third last. Oh well, no it wasn't. Biology was the worst. As you can see, I got my messy style there for my EPI, which is like a research project for physics. Now these are my biology notes. As you can see, no pre-planning. This is all, I did it all in class live, which actually was really hard. This was probably the only subject that was kind of rushing on time. But my epic noting system actually saved my life in this. I actually managed to do it all in class, and you know there was a lot of information to write out, and again, the teacher was going real fast and it was just a whole thing, but I'm really glad. This is probably my proudest achievement in my entire high school career, these biology year 12 notes, because oh my god. Again, I had to memorize essentially all of this because I was able to transfer it all onto flashcards because again, this is biology summarized. Not the full thing, this is summarized. So I managed to put them all into like bullet points and turn them into flashcards. Again, there's a lot of flashcards, but again, memorized it all. So yeah, I'm pretty proud. I don't remember a single thing now, but I passed my exams. So, you know, a bit of a slay moment if I do say so myself. But as you can see, that is the end of my year 12 notes. Now moving on, this is my math workbook. As you can see, We went through 3 of these in the entirety of year 11 and 12. There are a lot of homework questions if you do science subjects and math methods. If only you could see my other math book, I threw it out because again I finished it, but it looked like an actual, headache scrolling, flipping through the book as you to see my old work. But this is the work from my latest book, as you can see, and I think I almost finished out, like 2 pages left. Now, this book, this is my new math notes book. So basically, after staring at the bright colors for ages and being so familiar with the content of my other math reference book, because I'd use it again for every, test and exam since I created it, essentially, my eyes had gotten so used to staring at it that I wasn't comprehending any of the information. Even though I knew the information, I wasn't comprehending any of it. And because some of it I'd done, like in year 11, I was forgetting to do easy formulas and easy systems, that I was like overcomplicating it and doing all sorts of things and making things really complicated when I could have just done the easy way, but I just completely forgot that the easy way even existed because I'd done it like 13 months ago. And so I just forced myself to rewrite the entire notebook again, basically just rewrite my notes. Even though it's not proven to be not a very good revising system, I did it way before my exam started and just like revision exam time started, and kind of forced the information back in my brain as I rewrote it all, because I basically didn't forget half of it, but it made it a lot easier to force it back into my brain because my eyes were just not comprehending it because I was just so used to those notes. So yeah, this is my one. I actually really like it. It's a different aesthetic and it's very neat. But anyways, nice little book. Now this was my exam revision book. Again, very messy, probably a nightmare in just a bit of paper. I did a lot of quote memorization. You could memorize all of these quotes, 3 essays in 3 hours. We got to love an English exam. So I did a lot of essay prep as well. So you can see essay structure prep there. These are my biology flashcards. I would just write down the ones I couldn't remember, as well as memorizing the math stuff I needed to memorize. But also, again, more biology flashcard stuff, more math stuff. I was just going through in circles of all the subjects before my exams. As you can see, more math stuff, more biology stuff. So every time I got flashcard wrong, I'll just write down what the flashcard answer was. So a lot of memorizing. More English quotes. The red stuff there is the quotes I didn't get right. So I had to rewrite it down. I write it down, put it in my head. Again, more biology. This is all biology flashcards. This is all English stuff. There's a lot of stuff I had to memorize. It was a pain. Yeah, more English stuff. Now, this is all biology stuff. It was probably one of my last exam before my physics one, so I had a bunch of gaps. So yeah, this is a lot of biology stuff there. Just biology flashcards until the end. And that's it. This was a pretty small notebook, and I didn't even finish it all. So anyways, thanks for watching, and good luck.
Hey guys, thanks for watching the video. Just here to remind you to subscribe like the rest of your favorite YouTubers. I think it'll be real neat if I sped run 69 million followers. Just saying.